Hey everybody, I hope your weekend is going well. I'm sure most of us have the day off tomorrow. If you don't, go ahead, make that time and a half. Um, I want to thank everybody for liking the video, subscribing to the channel. I really appreciate it. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. Um, Let me just say this before I get into Potomac. Uh, I just have to get this off my chest. And I know there's gonna be somebody who probably doesn't think this. There's plenty of people who probably don't think this, but I need to say this. Can we please stop these whack ass TikTok videos? This whack ass TikTok video trend of the I'm a AKA. Of course I'm a black mother. Of course I'm in corporate America. Of course I do this. It is so fucking corny to me. And it is such a struggle to watch. Like every time like it comes up on my timeline, I'm like, why? I never like these videos. They annoy me. This is some whack shit. And it's just giving a bunch of people who seem to think it's going to read well to an audience. And I can't even believe that it's caught on the way it has. But I want a moratorium on it, okay? And if you're with me, please stop liking those videos so maybe people will stop making them. All right, anyway, I'm going to get my hair cut tomorrow. Don't ask no questions about my hat. Anyway, so we get at the beginning of the episode, Giselle, Ashley, and Thirsty Ass Sharice. All right, they're talking about the Austin trip. They're making fun of Robin and how Robin was like, y'all need to do this and that to me. Go ahead, take me down. And Giselle is laughing with Ashley, and I'm just like, Robin's supposed to be your girl. And Robin, why are you calling these bitches your friends? That's Robin, you a weak bitch. Because the fact that Giselle gets away with disrespecting you so much, and we know Ashley ain't nobody's friend, and Sharice just begging for the camera, you could tell she was kind of mad she wasn't invited to Austin. It was Karen's birthday and y'all don't get along. Moving on. Karen and Ray. So Karen talks to Ray about her cardiology results and says, well, when she told Ray, she felt like he rushed her off the phone, this, that, and the other. And I was like, ma'am, then you remind him that it's not that serious, that it's not really a health problem. Girl, bye. Next, Gordon and Mia take a cooking class. So I guess they're trying to save their failing marriage by taking the cooking class. Good luck. I don't even want to go with whatever I halfway saw in the blogs when I saw Mia with her legs open with some other man in the car. And then they said, oh, she's not engaged. We don't care if she is. Like, it's just, Mia, I'm trying with you. So they invited, those roommates, Juan and Robin, to come out to this cooking class too. Struggle scene. All right, incoming. Juan is on an employment mission because he needs a job. Okay, there's an assistant coach position. He's on the phone. We're hearing the whole Juan talk about call me back, call me back. Why is this season so focused on their boring asses? Like, why? Robin is open up and tells us she's opening up a franchise of Glow 30. I guess it's a makeup company. I've never heard of it, but whatever. I'm Fenty all day. I am, 40 shades, 41 shades, because Rihanna did the damn thing for black women of different complexions. And whether she stepped down or not, the idea is still incredible. And that's what I support. Anyway, so Robin claims that Juan losing his job is another reason why they should diversify their portfolio. No, bitch, that's another reason why you need another stream of income. In other words, you keep finding ways to put pennies together to take care of you and Juan in a marriage that you entered into twice that you did not have to. Like, I don't get it. I don't get why you are sticking with this man. This ninja doesn't even want to listen to you when you have a problem. I don't care if he's interested or not. Act interested. Hear what I have to say. Because, I just don't get it. That's worse than a fucking coworker. Like, I don't get it. I just don't. I don't. So anyway, she had Mia and Gordon look over her investment plan. First mistake. Okay. Two, I was just like, wow, you got to be careful who you talk about, especially since you were talking shit about her being a stripper, especially that first season, and laughing at her, mocking her. You never know who you might need. But is that really who you want business advice from? But you know what? Robin do dumb shit all the time. And let's not forget, Robin and Juan bought that $1 million house. Why the fuck did they even buy that kind of shit? Coaching jobs are insecure. It'd be different if he was like an NBA coach where they just make money, money, money. So even if you lose your job after like 2 or 3 years, you're going to be good for a minute. Like, I just don't understand why they insist on having a life they cannot afford. And no, I don't give a shit what Robin's degree is. I don't want to buy no makeup that Robin is like doing. I don't even respect Robin anyway. So then Mia asked about all the rumors because this is why I don't mind Mia being on the show, okay? Because Mia, either she can't read social cues or does not care about them, whatever it is. I honestly don't feel like she does things to really be mean and messy. I think she is just messy. But I feel like Ashley and Giselle, especially, do things to be cruel and messy, like to really hurt people. I don't know that Mia's doing. I think Mia just kind of thinks it's fun for the moment, and so she does it. Like dumb shit. So she says, "Did you get that woman your credit card?" And Juan is just like, whatever you read, you read. That's just what it is. It is what it is. And Mia was like, "Oh, so you went to the hotel?" She was like, "You could have done that over the phone, right?" And I was like, "Well, Mia's a hoe. Mia's a hoe. So she knows how the game goes." And Mia said, "Okay, well, next time you know." He was like, "Well, it won't be a next time." When Mia said, "Well," him and Robin had the same exact story. They definitely practiced that one. I said, "Oh shit." Honestly, these two need to move on from each other. It may be scary because they just used to being around each other, but neither one of them seem happy. You know how like sometimes you see people in a relationship and it seems like one person still really like loves that person and the other person is just not here for it anymore. Neither one of them seem happy when they're with each other. Robin always looks uncomfortable, like what's gonna come out about him. I don't feel like explaining it, but I'm gonna explain it and defend him. And he always seems like irritable. Like, Wanda, go be with somebody else. Don't fucking ask her to marry you on TV, then go get married to her, and then still be doing like that's dumb shit to me. Cause y'all got married twice. That's what makes it dumb. So we're at Wendy's house. Wendy apparently has a much younger brother who seems like he just entered college. I was like, damn, because I was sitting up there thinking, that oldest little boy had a growth spurt. But then I realized, oops. Okay. So her mom is at their house. I feel like her mom is always there. But Eddie's parents don't talk to him because of who he married. I just think something is wrong with that. Something doesn't seem right with that. It doesn't. It'll come out soon enough, though. Wendy starts telling her mother about Naneka and that shrine bullshit. I don't want to hear no more about it. I really don't. Okay? It's tired. It's done. Y'all don't like each other. It's done. Are we really supposed to think Wendy hasn't already told her mother all of this shit and prepped her for this scene? Are we really supposed to watch this with somebody like Wendy who's always trying to like cover her bases even when she doesn't do it well, that they had not had this conversation? Her mother didn't even seem shocked. Her mother's story is bullshit the same way it sounded like Wendy was just spewing bullshit. And her story makes as much sense as Wendy's did. None. So when somebody just sits there straight face like that with an accusation and doesn't go, huh? What, me? Who is this? They on that bullshit because they already preparing to appear like they're not bothered. Okay? Because anybody would have questions. Moving on. Grace and Giselle. Grace is on her way to college. Grace is a very beautiful young lady, and I wish her well. Giselle's taking her to a self-defense class. Honestly, they gave us one during orientation at Spelman. And one of the things I want to do this year is to really take one too. And I was telling my friend about that back in December. Just because I think it's good to know. And I hate, because just like there's a black tax, like when you have to like go out of your way to go to another store because you don't feel like going in some place where people are going to follow you around and shit. I feel like there's that tax on women as well. Like the things we have to do, the things you have to buy. I don't know, whatever it is, whatever you have to do to defend yourself. It's costly. Paying for a self-defense class, costly. That you wouldn't have to worry about in the same way if it was a boy. You just wouldn't. But I think that's a great thing that Giselle took her to, and I think that's important. And Grace was in the car. She was talking strong, like, it's time. But was it just me, or did she look like she wanted to cry in the car? Maybe it's the kind of makeup she's wearing, but it definitely looked like she wanted to cry or had been crying. Why does Giselle have Grace in the confessional? She's been doing that a lot this season, but we don't see the other two ever in the confessional. It could be because they're in school. Am I the only one noticing that? It just seems, I don't know, strange. Are they preparing her for a career in TV? Like, why? It just seems weird. So Giselle got her ass kicked in self-defense. She needed her ass kicked for some reason. I just wish she get her ass kicked for the right reason. Giselle is having a hard time with her child leaving. I remember when my older sister left for college, and we were all like crying because there's five of us, right? I don't remember if my brother cried or not, but like we were just really sad. We got back in that van. That was a very quiet car ride with both my parents and us in the car because it was just like the nucleus, the unit. It was like the oldest, the one who spearheads everything was just away in college, and that was really hard for me. I was really sad. And then my second oldest sister, I was really sad. And because I'm the middle of five, I remember I went with my second oldest sister, because we're all 2 years apart, went to college, and I remember thinking, like, I went from being like their little sister to the oldest of two other kids, right? It was just kind of weird. And I just felt like I wasn't ready. I wasn't. All right. So anyway, she talks about boys with Giselle. I mean, Giselle talks about boys with Grace and said she doesn't want to be, Grace says she doesn't want to be in a relationship. I think that's the perfect thing to tell your nosy ass mother. And I also think, but for some reason, I feel like Grace is serious. And I feel like, honestly, girl, yes, keep your head in them books, go to parties, have fun, have some male friends, people you just kick it with and stuff, but don't get caught up in that because they all cheat and mess around. Your mama know that's why she keep bringing it up. Giselle calls her fake boyfriend and none of us want to hear. Now, this first half of the episode, until we got to the end with the pave thing, then I changed my mind. But this season is full of choppy bullshit with no lead up to anything. They need to redo the cast or just scrap the show, honestly, because it's not really going anywhere. I'm like, what the fuck? So Candace and Nneka meet up, which I think is good, honestly. And I think it's very brave of Candace, and she's supposed to rock so hard with Wendy because they don't fuck with each other. So Candace calls her mom, and she had her first mammogram. They read her imaging. She has 2 lumps. They said it appears to be a lymph node, and she has a history of breast cancer in her family. If I was Candace, I told everything that Candace was saying, I understand. And especially as a black woman, people say, oh, we're just going to monitor something when you feel like it can be handled. You feel that way. And I do think her mother, though, was being reasonable, right? Like, not trying to, like, geek up those feelings. Just because she was like, well, don't overthink it. They're going to do some more tests and so on and so forth. I get it. Her mother has to be the non-busiest entrepreneur I know. Okay, but I don't want to take away from the fact that Candace is going through it. Candace, prayers up, because we don't want nothing to happen to Candace. But Candace, if I was you, I would have called my father. Isn't your father the physician? Because I remember seeing him when you was preparing for your wedding, and you called that man in his scrubs. And he was at work, okay, and wasn't giving you no extra money for that already too expensive wedding. Anyway, that being said, all right, Nneka and Candace meet up at the restaurant. They talk about that fucked up Austin trip. We don't care. We don't care. Okay? Nobody cares about it. It was whack. Move on. I feel like Nneka, because I don't dislike Nneka yet. I think she really just wants to make some friends or a friend. And not in the way that, like, I feel like she's thirsty for camera time wanting to make friends. I really think, like, she is actually really new to that area. And moving somewhere and not knowing anybody, that's tough. It's tough because, like, even, like, remember when Karen invited her to pickleball? I remember saying I really felt like she was really grateful that she just got an invite. And she acted grateful. And I think Nneka really just wants a friend. I think she really does. And I don't think it's a fake desire. I think she just really needs a friend. And that's not a bad thing. It's just that women can be so terrible to each other. Anyway, so Candace brings up that Nneka should not have called Wendy a bitch. I do believe that they were doing that shit. I think that's why Nneka was so fucking pissed off. Nneka said, you think that warrants her calling me a crackhead? First of all, Nneka, I'm going to need you not to be that offended. Because whether you was born in Nigeria or not, you grew up in America. How many times do black people, kids growing up, call you a fucking crackhead? Why are you even taking that seriously? That ain't even deep, okay? First of all, if anything, that's some whack-ass shit. That's like when Heavenly is on Married to Medicine talking about some yo mama. Like, that shit is just old. Like, just let it go. So, Candace, for you to try to tell Nneka, you know what, every time somebody pisses you off, you shouldn't be calling them out of their name or whatever. I said she is out of order. I said that before they even threw in that throwback footage, which actually could have been a lot longer and a lot lengthier. ma'am, you are not the person to make that case. Okay? Because you probably shouldn't be taking glasses and throwing Monique and making her lip bleed and shit and getting a whole cast of gang up on her. Don't pull it. All right, Karen's PAVE event. It supports victims of rape. It's an organization that supports victims of sexual assault. And this was sobering. And I applaud Karen for doing this on TV because, and I applaud all of them for supporting it, even on television, not showing their ass. Because I know there has to be somebody watching that understands this. I know there's many women watching it that know this pain. And it's a worthy cause, and it was treated appropriately. Yeah, so shout out to them for this. So Mia felt was thinking about sitting this one out. She said because of a lot of unresolved trauma. She said she wasn't prepared to be vocal about it. I believe that. And whenever you've had a person who's been through, like Mia, through foster care, stripped for a living, very vulnerable, didn't have a lot of protection, that often happens in different situations. It just does. It does. And I'm glad nobody asked her to be vocal about it. And Karen wouldn't do that. I'm talking about the other bitches. All right, so Karen says the one thing she can depend on Giselle for is that she will support her. I said, really, Karen? The support means simply showing up to an event? Because she's always fucking shit up. I don't consider that support, but that's me. So, Mia, let me tell you something, baby. Baby girl, that blue, you was straight killing the solids, okay? You came in there stunting, and I loved it. Candace's yellow was cute. She wears yellow well. But that blue, you win, Mia. So I think it is so good that Karen is involved in this, especially around sexual assault, because this happens way too often. And the victim is always the person walking around with the guilt, and the perpetrator is not. And so this Me Too movement and moment we're in is so important. Sexual assault, these are very traumatic things that are very hard to get over. And when you think the majority of people who are real psychologists, I'm not talking about life coaches. I'm not talking about even people, no tea, no shade, who just have a master's and can license and do like social work counseling. I'm not even talking about them. I'm talking about real doctors, okay? Because you will need psychoanalysts, and I know I see one, like real trained people. You have to think about most of those people are men. Most of them are not of color. And so all the layers within that, it's not always as simple as going to therapy. There's a lot of black people who have terrible experiences with white people who have no cultural competency whatsoever. And then try to destroy things like affirmative action as if they were working so great. But opportunities for black people to really develop those skills. And that's some bullshit. Anyway, so I just want to put that out there. So just at that table, Robin, Ashley, Candace, Mia, and Karen had all been victims of sexual assault. That to me was scary and disturbing. That's literally over half the cast that admitted to it. Now, if that's happened to all of y'all need to work on giving each other some serious grace in terms of behavior. Because knowing that kind of helps put some of these people's behavior, attitudes, and actions in context. It really does. It doesn't excuse everything, but the bottom line is things that happen to you influence the way you perceive the world and the way you interact with people. So I feel for Mia and Karen in particular, and it's hard to watch people try to process that pain, because it is something that never goes away. You can get women talking about domestic violence relationships they were in 30 years ago and break down and cry. It's assault. And I feel like by calling it domestic violence, no, it's assault. If it happened on the street, it would be prosecuted completely differently. We got to, when I say we, I mean the laws need to change to protect women. So, even though it was Ashley, I definitely thought somebody should go and check on Mia. And it was not, and Karen could not be the one because Karen was in the space. I felt like maybe Robin should have done that. I feel like Robin is more appropriate, but for Robin to kind of look and just turn her head, I mean, granted, it probably is reality TV editing. We don't want Giselle, but anyway, I definitely thought somebody should have gone and checked on her, especially since Mia went and sat at the table with your dumbass Robin when you was crying about a bunch of nothing with Candace. Anyway, so I just feel for Mia. I hate that Ashley now knows that, because Ashley is the kind of person that I can see her throwing it back in Mia's face later in the worst and unhealthiest way. Um, so then Mia starts saying, like, she knows she's a shit friend to Jacqueline. And I'm like, why are you bringing this up? She said because she felt like Jacqueline left her in that situation when she got apparently sexually assaulted to some degree. And she said, I know Jacqueline trusted her boyfriend. She didn't know any of that was going to happen. She found me the next day. And that makes sense. Because they fight like sisters. They still have this really tight-knit relationship. And it's easy to take it out on people you love because they're accessible, it's easier, and you're consistently in their life. And I think, and Mia wasn't making an excuse, but Mia, you probably should say that to her. And you also need therapy to stop blaming her because Jacqueline didn't do that to you. For all we know, Jacqueline could have been the victim of her boyfriend too, and she's never told you about it. See, that's why you got to be careful with stuff like that. I do think Giselle was smart to ask questions on how her daughter should protect herself, but it happens a lot. And people are typically raped by somebody they know or are familiar with, and that makes it scary. She was like, should she be walking to class by herself? Those are legitimate questions. We all got rape whistles during orientation at Spelman, just because of what men do next door. Noted. Morehouse in particular. Noted. Girls I knew. No, these are not stories I'm making up. So it's just unfortunate. I think you can ask anybody watching this video or anywhere. I guarantee you, it may be even less than 2 degrees of separation between people who know or have experienced sexual assault. And so shout out to Karen for doing this. Y'all be sure to like and subscribe. Please make sure you embrace tomorrow. And just, watch some documentaries. Learn more about Martin Luther King. Miss me with this bullshit about, oh yeah, he was cheating on his wife. The only person that should have been mad about that or had an issue with it that matters is Coretta Scott King. And when the FBI sent that information to her, she could have turned that movement upside down and ruined everything, and she didn't do it. Because she was a woman of integrity, of class. She was a woman who pushed him to come out against the Vietnam War. And he said that himself. Okay, so miss me with this scandalizing everything, like LBJ was faithful to his wife, like John F. Kennedy was faithful to all the presidents. Like, miss me. Martin Luther King was a prophet, and we need to treat him and respect his legacy as such. All right, y'all be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.